Hey everyone, welcome to Saturday Night Popcorn. This is Jason.
And this is Kai, and we have another great discussion for you today. The movie of the day is Stalker. It's from 1979, so it's an older movie, but still want to give everyone a heads up that there will be spoilers.
Yeah, especially the end. I'm gonna say the end like right now. No. No, but like Kai said, this is the movie Stalker, 1979, so quite a bit ago. Way before the time I started existing in this world.
Yeah, either
Uh
one of us.
yeah, either one of us. But this one is directed by Andrei Tarkovsky. And yeah, this is a movie. I feel like I was like having a I was we were watching the movie, me and my girlfriend and stuff, and we took a break, we took a pause just to kind of grab something to snack on. And I think there's a clear distinction between a movie, which I kind of relate to like the Marvel movies and stuff. Like
Mhm.
it's a movie to put on the TV or watch in the movie theater and stuff. You kind of pay attention, you snack on things, you're like drinking a bunch of like soda and whatever. And then there's films,
Yeah.
which are kind of like a step up and everything. Like you kind of have to pay attention to it. There's a story. Someone really took the time to like put together the story, be the director and stuff. But then there's like another class above that where it's like cinema. Like this is an event. And I think it's also what like this is like a stepping stone that like completely changed the game in that moment. And then like the style of this movie becomes the style of the movie for a moment until another like cinematic like release comes out and then changes the game again.
Hmm.
And I think this one is it because in terms of that time period where it's like I think this one kind of goes into its own bucket of like this is cinema, and there's a reason why this movie exists, and there's a reason why people still talk about this movie down the road. That's sort of like what I kind of like started thinking about when I was like watching this movie because it's a long one. Like we were talking about it before we kind of jumped on this podcast to record. It's a long one. It's like 2.5 hours, like 2 hours and
No,
40
it's two.
minutes.
Yeah, 240.
Yeah, so it's
I
it's fairly long.
I agree with you. I think for me, it made me real like the more movies we watch that aren't from the US, like foreign films, it makes me realize how bad my attention span is at times.
Right.
Because like I got so used to these like new age movies that just have a bunch of cuts. Like it's just a dialogue scene, but you're cutting from both characters, you're cutting from like over the shoulder, and there's no consistent, you're sitting in the frame watching something take place.
Yeah.
But this movie, there was a lot of that. Like there wasn't much dialogue. There was just a lot of, hey, this is the scene. Things are going to take place within this frame. You have to actually pay attention. And so,
True.
yeah, like you said,
True.
there's definitely a distinction between like a movie you go to the theater, like a Marvel type film, like an action type film that you don't truly have to pay attention to because you know you can just read online after you watch the movie, like little Easter eggs that you might have missed. And then, yeah, there's cinema. This was definitely one of those.
Yeah, it kind of this kind of goes down the to what I liked about the movie, and that's the first thing we kind of ask each other is what we
Mhm.
liked about the movie. And to your point, that those long shots where it's like you have the main character, like, I think there's a point where like he like lays down in the
Yeah.
bog, and there's the camera stays on it, and you're thinking as a person that watches movies like that where it's like there's a lot of cuts and it's like here's your attention for like 10 seconds and then switch your
Hmm.
attention to this, where this it's like really like ingest the scene with them, and
Yeah.
ingest the scene with the emotions. The maybe you can start to like imagine that you feel the wetness of the bog, and you feel his emotion kind of like either settle into the bog as like the stalker character like feels more at home
Hmm.
where they go in this like whole scenario. And we'll kind of explain the movie in a little bit, but I liked also there's other scenes in the beginning where like they're kind of trying to like go under the radar of the military who like protects this like secret area. And there's like a scene where like it's like going through, like they like look through a window, like the cameraman's outside of the window, and then stuff's going on, but then the camera person pans to the right, and then there's another opening, and it
Hmm.
seems like there was like stuff going on outside of the scene that you're seeing, and they pan over and you see more of that scene, and it's like it's still the same continuous shot, but you just see more of it because the camera moves just to kind of, and there's like that break where like you see like the wall of the building, and then another opening, and there's stuff's going on and stuff. And there was a lot of that where like a lot of things were like, as the camera panned, it gave you a bigger picture
Yeah.
of what's going on in that scenario.
Like instead of
um
zooming out, like sorry to cut you
no,
off,
no,
but
yeah, go ahead.
instead of zooming out like a lot of these movies do, or like give you a close-up scene and then they'll cut to a super wide shot. Like this one just panned left and right or up and down, whatever it needed to do to convey that hey, there's more within this world that we can't show you in this one frame.
Yeah, and I think it kind of goes back to like, I think I brought it up a podcast ago, like perspective,
Hmm.
where you get more of the 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 kind of story and the environment based off the perspective that the camera person or the cinematographer is trying to give within that film or within that kind of scene. And
Hmm.
the more it gives you, and for me, it makes you feel like if that perspective is very narrow, and the more it gives you by panning to other scenes in this, it gives you what you would believe those characters in the movie would have, because it's like they literally would have to like turn their heads to see what else is going on or move to a
Yeah.
different spot. And there's a lot of nuances, there's a lot of mystery to this movie too. You're
Yeah.
Every time you think there's a pan going on, like it's gonna pan to this other, like you think there's gonna be like a monster or like something going on, but no, it's not. I feel like it's like a psychological thriller, like in no other kind of way that we've experienced. Like we watched The
No.
Game, and I think that's a true psychological thriller where like there's like a mystery, there's like what the hell is going on.
What's the
But this
next
one,
turn?
yeah, and this one it's like you don't know
You're just
because
trying to follow this guy. Like, where is he
the
going to take them
characters don't know
next?
what the hell's going on too.
Oh yeah, if I was one of those characters, I'd be so nervous through that whole situation.
Right.
Like we're going to a place called the Zone. Like
The zone,
of
and
all places, we're going to
and
the Zone.
my wants and needs will come true. My biggest want
Yeah.
and need will come true if I go to this room. But another thing that I really enjoyed is the transitions between the color,
I
where
actually have that
it,
on my like too.
yeah, on your likes. Okay, I was like,
Hmm.
it would be funny if it's on your dislikes. But like the whole movie starts off in like this like weird yellow
Instead of
filter.
sepia. Yeah, I said sepia
Yeah,
filter.
and I remember I turned it on and I was like, I don't remember the images from the movie looking like this. I was like, am I watching the right
Yeah.
movie? But then then when they go into the zone, it turns into color.
Yeah.
And even my girlfriend next to me, she was like, "Whoa, like I didn't think that this movie was in color." And I was like, "Yeah, like it's supposed to be, but I don't know what's going on." But I think it shows a transition of like, oh, like normal life with air quotes around it, like in where they live,
Yeah.
normally kind of has like this bogged down kind of
This
undertone
haze.
to it. Yeah, and it's like there's more of a mechanical feeling, I guess, to it. I guess like because like there's like military, there's trains, there's industrial complex type of deal and everything. And then when they go into the zone, it opens up into this green, lush kind of area. And I think
Yeah.
I am hoping that that's sort of what if that's what I'm taking from it, is that there's that clear transition, that this is kind of like an open kind of wilderness, made because of this weird kind of like situation that happened. But yeah, there's like this almost like kind of like unbrokenness to that zone feeling, and you see it right away when the stalker goes into the zone. He wanders off and he goes and like lays in the tall grass, and you feel him. He feels more relaxed and comfortable and
Yeah.
stuff.
Like he
So
feels at home in there.
yeah, and so and you feel it with them too, and it's
Yeah.
like and I think that's sort of what the director and cinematographer was kind of going for. But those were like the clear kind of like big things that kind of stood out to me with this movie.
Yeah, for the like that opening maybe 10 minutes, like the sepia filter. I thought like, after watching the movie further, I was wondering if that was like a dreamlike state
Oh yeah,
because of the cut, like it, or because of it didn't always have it. Because I was on the same page as you. I was like, okay, why is this yellow? Like I was expecting it to be in color. And so when I saw it, I was like, okay, there has to be something to it. And then once they got to the zone, I was like, okay, now this is color. And then they would cut back to the sepia for a little while. And I was like, okay, this is this a dream? Like, what's going on here? So I wasn't, yeah, I didn't understand the difference between this, I guess, the states of mind.
yeah.
Like,
I guess yeah. I would believe that a second watch or at least like maybe like a debrief from like the director, you'll at
yeah,
least knowing their perspective on that.
I also like the wife's talking head at the end
Oh
because
yeah, like the monologue at the end.
yeah, like so much of the movie was like a typical movie. Like no one's looking into the camera. It's just that these two guys are following the stalker through the zone, but then at the end to have someone actually looking directly into the lens and speaking to it, you're just like, what the heck?
Yeah, but you take that as she was breaking the fourth wall, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
speaking directly to us as the viewer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that too. I I don't know. I think the monologues there's a lot of like long monologues from each of these characters. Like
Yeah.
the three main characters have a monologue, probably
Mm-hmm.
multiple monologues each. The wife at the end has a monologue. I was surprised that the bartender didn't have a monologue, but it was good. I don't know. I was like, man, taken back by like even like the acting of all three of them too. Like
Yeah.
they this was it seemed like a like I don't know, they hit it out of the ballpark with all of these characters.
But even with all the monologues, there wasn't that much dialogue in this movie.
Well, I was kind of that's sort of what I was gonna kind of go with in terms of one of my like not dislikes, but it
Mm-hmm.
was I was like, man, I was glad I didn't have like a beer or two in me. I was like,
Oh,
because
yeah.
I was like, if I probably had one beer, I was like not gonna be able to read all of this. But because like we talked previously with In the Mood for Love, where it's like
Yeah.
it seemed like a very good kind of entrance to maybe a foreign film and
Mm-hmm.
a film with dialogue in a different language than your own
Subtitles and everything.
and
Yeah.
subtitles and different things. But there wasn't a like you kind of got a lot of context from the acting and the color and everything. But here
Yeah.
there was more dialogue and I feel like if you're gonna go from In the Mood for Love to Stalker, that's a big jump.
Hell heck yeah.
Maybe finding like a happy medium in the middle, but I don't know. I don't say that I was taken back by how much dialogue, but there is more to kind of listen to
Yeah.
or
Like
read for this.
I'm not mad we went from In the Mood for Love to this. I
No, yeah,
think, like I said before, like it was just it made me realize like how bad my attention span has gotten.
right.
Because I'm like watching it and I had to break it into 2 days because I was watching it and then I'm like, man, I have to look at what's going on the screen and I have to read what's going on. And I would just kind of zone out for a while. And it took
Yeah.
me time to be like, okay, no, I got to refocus and like watch this. So yeah, it's not a dislike. It would be a dislike for me or a dislike to myself because it's like, okay, how is your attention span gotten this bad?
Right. We're just so used to just 10-second content hitting
Yeah,
our eyes and then nothing
cut, cut,
else.
cut, 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 and you're just like, okay, cool, I'm good. I'm focused. I know what's going on.
Where I don't know. I think this movie was, I think if we saw a movie like this and we paid like nowadays what movie tickets are like
It's like
15 $20
15,
and stuff,
yeah, or more.
yeah, or more, and then I would take it as I got my money's worth with if I went to go see a movie like this where it was
Yeah,
long, it was enjoyable, and I think that's sort of what it was back then, where it's like people went to the movies and then probably went to the movies like what, once a month, if
yeah.
that
Like it
was
was an
probably like a
event.
good, yeah. I
It's
remember
not
when
like
we were
now.
children too, like when I was young, my parents would probably take like, oh, you go to the movies like today, like, oh crap, man, that's a I just got something, I must have done something right or something, I don't know. But it was like like there was a lot to it to go to the movies and stuff, and I
Yeah,
think that they either people, this is the way storytelling was, and it's a good example of like how storytelling can be done visually from it's actually a book that it was done from too. So there's a book that kind of reference, or like what would you call it, like is the catalyst to this movie basically.
yeah. I would say reference, like the reference point.
Yeah, I
Like,
forget what it's called. I think it's like the long picnic. Is that what it said in the beginning?
oh, I don't even remember.
And to the people that listen and play video games, I Kai and I play video games. Myself probably more video games than I
Yeah,
want to say, but there is a video game series that I think coming up soon. They're making the second one and stuff, and it's actually done by a Ukrainian based game studio.
hmm.
So this is like it's a book, and then it turned into a movie. This movie Stalker, and then eventually someone made a video game based off of this, off of the Stalker character and stuff, and within that, this. How would you define what the Stalker character in the movie is?
I don't
Like
know. That's what I've been trying to figure out. But no, we'll go to this first, and then I'll go back. I couldn't figure it out because he didn't seem like you hear about stalkers now, and it's like some creep chilling behind a wall, like watching somebody do stuff. Like
yeah, yeah,
the whole TV show You is about a stalker, but this guy wasn't like that guy.
yeah, right. So I feel like he's not. He's a. I feel like
He seemed like
Stalker.
a coyote, like somebody trying to get someone from one place they don't want to be to another place.
Yeah, yeah, that's sort of like what I was kind of like. And right now, coyotes are like uh like immigration, kind of like all that is
Hmm.
like a touchy subject now. But like they're the stalker person is like more of a guide through, and you
Yeah,
see it in the movie where it's like they're they're guiding these individuals, but it's not them the guide. It's you have to pay attention to what the zone is telling you. And I think the stalker characters are more in tune to the zone,
yeah, because they've done
so
it
they
before.
listen. Yeah,
Yeah,
and so they've done it before. They kind of know where to step, and they're throwing around like little like nuts and bolts with like some like string to it,
another
just to see
cloth.
if
Yeah,
something, yeah, see if something's happening with that. But yeah, I was like, how would you define what he does? Like,
I would say, yeah, like you said, the guide. He's
yeah,
some sort of guide of the zone.
and what they're trying to get to is in within the zone is there's this room that somehow has magic in what they believe, right?
Yeah.
It's like
Hmm.
some spiritual magical thing that the you go into the room, and whatever you desire the most
It's
in your life
granted.
is granted.
Hmm.
And it doesn't seem like it pertains to what you sometimes believe is what you desire the most. Like I think one person said like, what, like I want to live forever. What if I want to live forever? I think the room knows what
Like
you
your
desire the
deeper
most
intentions. Yeah.
internally. Yeah, it's like maybe subconsciously this is what you desire the most, and so that things, people can become rich, people can live forever, but it's based off what you desire the most.
I wanted to go back to what you were talking about earlier. Like about like people going to movies. and how it's changed from when we were kids, and it definitely changed from when this movie was released to when we were kids till now. It shows how everyone entertains themselves now. Like back in the 70s, it was probably, hey, we'll go to the movie theater every month or every few months to go check something out because there was only a handful of movies that were actually being released. To when we were kids in the 90s, there was a bunch of movies coming out. So we probably went maybe a little bit more, maybe twice a month, if that, depending on the time frame. To now, like there's people that
Right.
go, there's times I go maybe, I don't know if I went twice a week, but I'll go a few times a month for sure. So it shows like how people entertain themselves. It went from kids playing outside to kids being inside playing video games all day and having that balance of like, okay, you play video games for an hour or two to, okay, you're going to go outside for an hour, to now kids are like, I'm not going outside. Like I got everything in the
Right.
palm of my hand or on my computer screen.
Outside's scary, man.
Yeah.
That's true. I think so too, where it's like we have almost immediate gratification for a lot of
Yeah.
things. And they're and nowadays, like we learned during this whole kind of pandemic scenario that we're living through still currently, where things can be given to us in our own homes, and that movie
Mm-hmm.
theater experience. I just bought a brand new TV and everything, and that's like more so it's like I'm like trying to watch everything that I can that kind of like all encompasses this TV that I spent quite a bit of money on to like have like this
Yeah.
4K and all this stuff and all this color. But I think people found out that a lot of this kind of movie going experience can be done in their own homes if
Mm-hmm.
they so please. But then on the flip side, when you go to the movies after a long time, you're like, oh, I forget how fun it was to go to the movies. Like it's just
Yeah.
like you're there for a set period of time, and you kind of just like
You
you're
disconnect.
yeah, you're gone from the world and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like it's kind of nice where it's like you go into this room, it turns like almost pitch black, and you're told
Just
not
like,
to touch your phone and everything. So
yeah.
it's like and nowadays you can get food served to you. We Kai and I go to this movie theater that Kai introduced me to, where it's like you get food, you get beer, you get drinks and all this stuff, and so you can kind of like have a whole meal while you're watching your movie.
Yeah. It's almost like you're home.
Yeah, right.
Chairs are comfy. The food gets dropped off to you nice and warm. Get a nice cold beer.
Yeah,
Like,
and the only thing you have is just other people around you, and it's like,
yeah.
oh well, you're all experiencing the same thing. That's kind of nice
Hmm.
too, where it's like you have a group of people that are experiencing the same exact thing in probably the same exact way,
Yeah.
but will come out of it with completely different experiences.
Hmm.
Yeah, interesting. I don't know, but what I kind of already alluded to what like I in terms of like what I would take from this movie as like a negative
Hmm.
or like a bad thing. Um but what kind of came to mind when you ended the movie?
The only I have two things on here, but one of them is more. I think this is what I'd mentioned before, like the attention span on me. So I put the pacing is too slow, but I don't think the pacing is too slow. I think it's reframing the way I view a movie because I'm so used to how, like I said before, like how movies are now. Movies are so like quick. You only see this for 2 seconds, this for 10 seconds, this for 5 seconds. And this was just like, okay, it's a static shot and things are playing out. So I have that as a dislike, but it shouldn't be. Maybe I would put a dislike as my attention span instead of the pacing of the movie. The other thing was there was a moment in the beginning where the wife was like hysterical, like overly
Oh,
dramatic, and that got
yeah,
on
where
my
she like
nerves.
fell on the floor. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
was
they
like, come
kind of
on,
didn't
really?
match the ending where she gives like that awesome
Yeah.
monologue. It's
Yes. And
that,
that's what messed me up was like I had that as a dislike from the beginning, like when I first started the movie. And I'm like, dude, I'm gonna hate this lady. And then that happened, the monologue happened at the end. And I'm like, who is this person? This is a different lady.
yeah,
This
that
is
is
crazy.
true. It does not match where it's like it does kind of take you away from because it's like what the hell happened? Like what
Hmm.
like what did they tell her like to like act
Hey, calm
like?
down a little bit. We don't need all of the dramatics. Be calm.
Yeah, that's true. It's pretty funny. Like for yeah, for I think the length of this movie is a lot to take. Um
Yeah.
where there's times where like yeah, it's like knowing your attention spans and stuff nowadays and knowing the length of movies that kind of come out nowadays, it's like when it's like an hour and a half, you're like, this movie should have been done a long time ago. But then you're like, and then you pause it, you're like, man, I have like another an hour and a half probably.
Yeah.
And so I think if you were in a movie theater and it like went dark, you can't pause it, you don't know how long it's been going and stuff.
Hmm.
I think you really wouldn't notice it unless like you're just like, all right, I have to go up and use the restroom and stuff, and then you
But
check
I,
your
I
phone.
think I think that's why I enjoy going to the movie theater so much is because I have that. Because I don't have the ability to pause it and come back later. I don't have the ability to check my phone every 2 seconds. I just love being in that world for that hour and a half, 2 hours.
We need to buy you a
Where
lockbox to put your phone
no,
into.
I've honestly been thinking about that, like figuring out where to set the phone where I don't grab it because it's bad.
Put it when you come home and you're gonna watch a movie. Put your phone in your mailbox. But just
I was
remember, it's
gonna
there.
put it in my backpack and just leave it in there. So it would force me to have to get out the bed or get off the chair and grab it if I really need it. I'll find a way.
Yeah, I think still currently today, like I'm trying to figure out like we still have our Christmas tree up, and so that thing still turns on with lights and stuff. But when I watch a movie, I like to like turn off all the lights in the house and have
Hmm.
like one light just so that if I get up, I don't trip over and like break my leg or something.
Yeah.
Uh, but but yeah, it's like I try to like remove everything out of my like kind of periphery and stuff, and Kai's been in my place. It's like we sit kind of close to the TV, but it's like
Mhm.
it's at a good distance and stuff. And so I feel like I get immersed in the movie that I'm watching when I want to and stuff.
Yeah. Most of
And I
the
put
time I
my phone
do.
away.
And then yeah, there's times where like this one was so long and so slow that I was like, okay, I'm shot. Like but I did enjoy it.
And what would you give it in terms of a rating?
I gave it a so the screenshot I sent you was a 3, but I just updated. I gave it a 3.5.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I uh enjoyed the colors. I enjoyed the film itself. It just at times was slow.
I gave it a 4, and I was like debating between a 4 and a 4.5, and it's like I try not to also look at we use letterbox as the way to like kind of rate it and stuff, and I try not to look at what letterbox the community has given the movie. I feel like that will alter my thinking.
Yeah.
And so like I don't look at it while like maybe like a day or two before I watch the movie. I don't look at it during the movie and stuff, and but I try to get a rating, and I'm like I came out of it with a 4, and I because I like I for me I like the storytelling. I kind of want to go find the book and everything, like where this like story came from. And then and I like the storytelling. I liked the acting, especially the three main characters. Their acting was top notch. Like the dude is like a douchebag. The one guy that just
Mhm.
like wants to drink forever and stuff, and like wants to go find and like like how about like I see the room right there. How about I just walk towards it and stuff? And the guy's like, no, like if like go the long way around and stuff. And then even the doctor character that ends up becoming like this weird that wants to blow it up at the end. So, but I like the acting and stuff. The length, I guess it's like we're just dumb Americans that can't pay
Yeah,
attention. So
basically.
yeah, I think
That's what
so.
I'm chalking it up as. Is like we're not sophisticated enough to understand like the length of a
Yeah.
movie.
But I do get what people take from this movie, and I do see what someone that maybe is a young movie goer and possible like movie person in the future, like making their own movies and stuff, can watch this and say, like, I can do that. Like that seems like something I can do, and not as good as that, or maybe better or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, I was fairly confident in my four,
Hmm.
but I don't know. But what would you buy this for your movie collection?
I would watch it again first. I think I would in the future. I think I would have to watch it again before like I pulled the trigger though. I'm buying it.
I it's funny, like I'm kind of going down this route of like buying movies from that Criterion collection, which this one
Hmm.
is part of the Criterion collection.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so I've noticed that like we've seen quite a few movies from this Criterion collection now. Like,
We know how to pick movies. That's all
yeah,
it is.
yeah. But I eh, I don't know. Right now, I would say I would buy it. I think just for like the whole thing of like this is a movie that people should watch, if whether or not
Yeah.
they're gonna pay attention to it and everything. It is like an obscure like story. There's a lot going on in the story, and
Yeah.
you're like, I have no clue. But I think that's the whole point of the story too. The whole zone in the room. There's really no answers to this,
Yeah.
and
It's
so
like
I
it's based on your or up to your interpretation, basically.
right, yeah, you're trying to find answers yourself, and
Yeah.
but I think I would. I think I would buy it, but maybe there'll be other things I kind of get caught up with and want to buy from the in my personal movie collection. But
You just need a room full of just movies, is what it
I
sounds like.
well well I but eventually down the road we're looking into hopefully saving up our house and stuff and everything. And I want a movie like theater room, even if it's
Hmm.
just two of us. I have it's me, my girlfriend, and my dog, and so I like I want maybe like a projection screen and stuff, and but that's down the road. I got to make more money and stuff, or spend less on other things that I don't need. But but yeah,
There,
this was a very enjoyable movie. I liked it.
there was one thing I forgot to touch on earlier,
Hmm.
um, because it was so brief. I don't understand why movie villains and bad guys have such terrible aim at shooting guns.
I well, that adds to the tension. Well, these the you're talking about the beginning, right? When
In the
they're like they
beginning,
shot up
yes.
by
Yeah, and they just completely miss. It's
yeah,
like, dude, what are you
they're like
doing?
2 feet away from each other.
Yeah. And it's
And the
just,
whole thing that like he's driving the Jeep like right past all of these
yes.
people. And
And
I'm
doesn't
like,
get
no one
shot.
sees him? Like, is that what's supposed to be?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
I was like, get out of here. That's my first note. I'm like, come on. This has to be a joke.
Yeah. But the story wouldn't continue if he
Yeah. I'm like, end of movie.
that's probably like one that and the acting of the woman in the beginning. It's like, what are you talking about? And then it turns into this whole thing, and I'm like, that that does not match this whole scenario. So but all right, Kai, you want to take us out?
Yeah. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Saturday Night Popcorn. I'm Kai.
And I'm Jason, and we'll be back next week for another one. Thank you.